So hi everyone and welcome for getting through this day so far. Hold on, new office. So, oh, camera is working good. We're looking lovely. So we have 15 minutes. We're going to look at work-life balance. What does it mean? Some emotional aspect and some practical tips. So I think other people view me and think, they think, oh, you're really efficient or you're really clever or you're really things. And actually, I kind of just work really hard at doing stuff. So I think for other people, you know, it's the classic sort of swan situation that it all looks beautiful on top and actually underneath I'm paddling away. So I've learned from my students. I think that's a theme for today. You know, those of us that get to support and help you on your journey, absolutely we learn from you, and then learn from my own mistakes as well. And the PhD has been the biggest learning curve that I'm like, wow, I can still change what I do. So I think change and honoring yourself are super important. Now I'm going to attempt to share a screen. Can you now see play your cards right? No? Yes, you can now. Lovely. So I'll have to show my age and tell you what play your cards right is. So we're going to play a little game. Play Your Cards Right was a primetime television in the late 80s. We had 3 channels, and this was basically what was put on at a prime time. So please don't ever say there's nothing on Netflix. The premise of Play Your Cards Right was that Bruce Forsyth, some of you may know from Strictly Come Dancing, would turn over playing cards, and before he turned it over, you had to say whether it was higher or lower than the last one. That was primetime TV, but it helps us with prioritization of what we're going to do in terms of what is on our to-do list. Do we have exams to study for? Are there tests coming up? Is there reading to do for an essay that we're going to do? Do we have cases? Do we actually want to see some friends? Would we like to go out and do something non-studenty? So that's the reason that we're going to do the Play Your Cards Right. But I just wanted to touch in on the emotions of studying. So it's a choice and a privilege to study, but your world is going to change in that because you are choosing a path of change. And so be prepared for that. Managing yourself is really, really important. So knowing yourself and that your journey is separate. My journey to becoming a vet nurse was different to anyone else that was in my class, and the same for everyone that was in there. So although it's good to maybe pick up tips from other people, comparison is a thief of joy. Don't compare yourself to others' progress. You're just doing things at different times and different paces on the same journey to the same title, but everything is going to be different. And gut instinct and knowing yourself is key. And gut instinct is something that I think partly is what we're here for. You know, sort of the inherent maybe bullying cultures or microaggressions. They're not overt. They're not somebody coming up and, you know, screaming in your face, but they're there and your gut says, I'm uncomfortable. So I think we need to kind of get in with that. So I always think the emotions of studying are really important to understand because your priorities are going to change. And this is what the Play Your Cards Right game is about. Because how do you prioritize what is best for you when you have the demands of job, family, friends, wanting to achieve? How do you get all that done and still stay sane? I think is the important thing. So Play Your Cards Right. I'm hoping that you guys are going to be able to hear this because once you've heard it, can you hear? No, it may not work. Don't worry. I will share it with you later. It had a very natty theme tune. And so we have here a single card. I'm hoping you can still all see the card. Yes, I'm still sharing the same screen. Good. So Play Your Cards Right. We've got 9 things on here. And I would like you, if you've got a pen or a paper, or you can do it in your head, to write down numbers 1 to 9. And then while I work out if we can get the theme tune to give you a couple of minutes to put down. So do 1 to 9. Once you've done 1 to 9, go back and look at what is on the screen. So we've got case logs, cook a meal, sleep well, revise for a test, see family, read for an essay, go for a walk, just rest, or see friends. And thinking of yourselves this week. So think of yourselves this week on Friday night. You have a weekend. You might be working, you might not, but you've got these 9 things that you potentially would like to fit in. So what is number 1? What is that's non-negotiable, that's absolutely got to happen. And what's your number 9, which is that would be nice if it happened, but it doesn't have to. And how are you going to manage these? So in all honesty, it doesn't matter what you put as number 1 and what you put as number 9, how you're going to make that happen and how you're going to prioritize that. So if you would like to start putting in your numbers 1 to 9, I will see if we can play the theme tune because it is just so hilarious. And I will come back to you in a second. Can we hear yet? No.
You're going to have to sing it, Jane.
Well, the problem is I now can't get it to stop playing for me. Oh, good Lord, right. It's incredibly annoying. So has everyone got, I'm going to put you on big gallery view so that I can see you all. Has everyone got a 1 to 9? Cool. So I'm going to want some of you possibly to speak in this or show me the numbers. So who has just a rest at number 1? Craig, we like. Who's got see family as number 1? Yay, Rebecca. Case logs? No, I like Nikki. No. So you've all got something different. Could you achieve all 9 of these in one weekend is my question.
No.
Some say yes, some say no. So then it's about prioritizing. Would you want to do all of this in one weekend and go back to work on a Monday morning?
No.
So I'm going to tell you what has been my mantra for some time. So annoying with this music. I can't even see where to turn it off now. God, I've done it. Oh, well done me. No is a complete sentence. So what you're thinking, what you guys are all starting to think about now is actually where are your boundaries going to be? What are the things that are a no? And you don't need to make an excuse. We're very British. We usually go, no, I can't because actually nobody needs to know. You can just say, no, thanks for asking. So is it see family? And actually you think, well, that involves a 2-hour trip and I've got a test on Monday. And this is where the emotional it starts to get really interesting because you're building up new boundaries because you're protecting your time and your welfare so that you can pass your course. And ultimately that's what ends up coming first. And it feels very odd. We're not normally selfish people because we're vet nurses and it's our, you know, it's kind of our personality type to care and want people to get better and people to feel well as their animal. So you need to start establishing those boundaries of, and who do I see in the family? Who do I see in friends? You know, friends bring different things. And because you're going on this journey of change, your friendship groups will probably change throughout the time that you're on your course. And who you see most often will change. And that's not a bad thing. That just is that priority. And don't be surprised that sometimes you might get a bit of kickback from people because they're maybe not changing and you are, and you're doing this new course and it's all, you know, it's exciting, but it's tough and, you know, you need some support. And not everybody necessarily thinks that change is a good thing. So be prepared for that. And the things that you do need to get into practically are right, how do I study more efficiently? You know, most of us aren't back at the good old days of being a student. You know, even the degree students now, if you're a first time undergrad going through at 19 or 20, the way the course is structured is now that you very rarely have, you know, entire days with nothing on that you can devote to studying, which, you know, is kind of maybe what we did at school. You've got a lot more to juggle, and your course is probably incredibly structured, and you may well have less holiday than other students because of the amount of placement time you have to do. So moving on to consider some practical aspects. Now, I am going to plug my book, only because in it are lots of really practical things. Lecture notes. Lecture notes can feel like they're really, really hard to do. So in my book is a template of how to make your lecture notes make sense so that when you get them home, you can understand them. The next one is the 1 minute paper, and you can actually Google the 1 minute paper and find it. But what I want you to think about is, when you're studying, you can be active or passive. If you're passive, it's going to take you a lot longer because you're going through the motions, but you're not necessarily engaging your brain. You want active learning to be that you're using recall and repeated recall and visiting information to build it up in your brain. So the 1 minute paper is usually what you would use as a lecturer. And at the end of a session, you would say, I'm going to give you all 5 minutes that you're going to write a 1 minute paper on what you've learned today. So you're getting the students to repeat the information. You're getting a double dip at the information as a student. And the questions would be, so what's the most significant thing you've learned in this session? What remains uppermost in your mind, be that a good thing or a bad thing? And what is something that you didn't understand or that you think you might want to know more about? So that you end up with some bullet points, and they're the sort of thing that you can take away. They can guide your revision, but they also build a little mental picture for you of what's new information. Because I went into vet nursing having done a degree in history. So going back to doing anatomy was completely beyond me. One of the people that I sat with at school had a degree in biology. So her understanding of where we were in anatomy was here, and mine was here. So therefore, the notes that I was making were much more, you know, required much more work. And my, is there anything I didn't understand or that I need to write more, was huge. And hers was like, well, no, I don't need to do anything more. So using the 1 minute paper really gives you a really good focus on what you're doing in a classroom, but you can use it, do a 20-minute study session. And at the end of it, ask yourself, what have I learned? What's the thing that was most important to me? And what else do I need to know? Because that is active learning. And a 20-minute session like that is significantly better than sitting rewriting your lecture notes for an hour, because you've not learned anything when you're rewriting your lecture notes particularly efficiently. You do, and it does help, but it's a slow way to go. The next one we've got is assessment planning. And this is really key, because where people might say to me, oh, Jane, but you're clever. It's like, I'm not particularly, but I know when my assessments are, I know what they're on, and I know what to focus on. And I also prioritize that over other things. I used to take a week's annual leave before my final exams because I knew I needed that time to study. But that was my boundary, because I would sacrifice that holiday time, not being with my partner, but being me at home. And the exams were always just after Wimbledon. It was really annoying because I didn't get to watch much Wimbledon. So that was my boundary, was that I took a week off. Do you know what? I could probably have had 3 days, but I watched a bit of tennis in between. And then exam planning. And both of these are spreadsheets for in my book, but you can find them online. You can find them in other study books, because that's really key. What are my dates? What do I need to know? And when do I need to know it by? They are just such basic things to know. And I just said something there about a 20-minute time window. So here's my 5 top practical tips. You've said no to going out with the friends that maybe don't appreciate how hard you're working. You said to family you'll see them next month. You've done a bit of studying for a test. You've done something positive and nice for yourself over this weekend. Top 5 tips. So your productive 20 minutes is much better than an hour of faffing. I see students who, and in fact, someone that I know who's just started a PhD does this, and I can't wait for him to come back and tell me. But he says, oh yeah, no, I did a good 6 hours today. 6 hours of what? What did you learn? What did you write? How many words did you write? Did you edit? What did you read? Was it interesting? Measuring yourself by time can often be very negative. So a productive 20 minutes, much better than going, I sat at my desk for 3 hours, but I couldn't tell you what I did. The Pomodoro Technique, something that some of you may have heard of. So it's a timing technique and you can get lots of sexy timers with it. But essentially it's trying to make you more efficient. So the idea is that you set a timer for 25 minutes. Then you take a 5-minute break when it goes off. And if you do that 4 times, then you've done pretty much 2 hours work and then you get a longer break. The idea of it is that it focuses your mind, it gives you a break. And what I tend to do at my break is I do my 1-minute paper. I do my, what did I do in that 20 minutes? Did I go off on a sidetrack? Did I find this really difficult? Did I find it easy? Do I want to continue with this, or is this just not the right space and time for me? So then you've got the 5 minutes where you can have tea, have a wee, do the laundry, put the dishwasher on, etc. Number 2 slightly feeds into this. It's frogs. You do the hard stuff first. The phrase is, if you've got a frog, eat your frog first. If you've got 2 frogs, eat the biggest frog first. So do the hard stuff when you're freshest. That usually helps. 3, know you. Learn your better times to study. I still don't know this. Everybody says it. I still don't think I'm particularly amazing any time of day. I definitely know between 9 and 10 in the morning is not the time to get anything productive out of me. Also, don't ever send me an email before lunch because I have morning anger syndrome. It's noted in humans. You're usually in a bit of a state of a hangry slightly position, but an hour after you get up as you transition from asleep to awake. For me, this lasts till about 1 p.m. So I know that I'm not particularly good in the morning with doing something for a lot of focus. Usually about 10 o'clock, I can get into stuff, but 9 till 10 for me is brilliant for life admin. Go through emails, answer them, stick stuff in the diary. That's a really good use of my time. Regular breaks. The Pomodoro Technique helps with that. But if you're sitting in a position where you're like, I don't know, I'm not sure, where am I going? Walk away. Just physically get up from the space that you're in and walk away. You don't necessarily have to do anything amazing. We're not being like, we're not in Wuthering Heights, wandering the moors looking for inspiration and getting pneumonia. So my ideal day is I do a 9 till 6 day. So 9 till 10 tends to be life admin, answering emails, like copying and pasting for referencing, that kind of stuff. I then do a 10 till 12 session, but I usually do the Pomodoro Technique in that. I may not leave my desk when I have that break, but I certainly go and look at something else. I might pick up some emails and look at them. 12 till 1 is lunchtime break. I might take the dog for a quick walk. I might go and do some yoga for 5 minutes, but that 12 till 1 is away from my desk. Then I do 1 till 3. Then I do another break 3 till 4, and then I do 4 till 6. So I've got 3 2-hour work sessions split into 20 to 25 minute sessions in the day. And that is enough break for me. It also means if I've got meetings to attend, I can juggle those around and I still achieve what I need to achieve in a day, but without overbooking myself. And the last one, try different things. As a learner, you don't always have to go back to where you finished at your last learning journey. A, technology improves. B, our ability to learn changes, and the subject that we're learning might do better in a different format. So try video and audio. Recall and repeat is better than a wall of posters. I think you've all probably sat in an exam and gone, I've got that on a poster in my bedroom. But you walk by it, it becomes familiar, your brain doesn't get triggered by it. Whereas actually what you need to do is get a load of Post-it notes, put it up on the wall, take a photo, take them down and see if you can reconstruct that. Good for anatomy or like the flow of blood or physiology or any of these kind of things that can be quite visual. And you change as a learner. So yeah, don't go back always to, day 1, week 1 when you're revising, because you're a different learner now. You have stuff that you have cases you can relate it to. So these are my 5 tips. These will keep you going, these will keep you sane, and these will allow you to learn where you can be a better learner. But your emotional boundaries are as valuable as these top practical 5 tips. And I think I'm maybe gone a couple of minutes over, so I will leave now. If anyone has any questions, feel free to Jane RVN on Instagram and Twitter. I am on Facebook, but not on it very often. And you can all do this. Student vet nursing is really hard, but you are all here because you are able to achieve it. But life doesn't stop, and that's what we all are here to understand. So your emotional boundaries, your physical and mental well-being, and your practical top tips, and you can do this.